Hello, I am Alphonso McGriff III, and this is Alphonso Speaks. I use this platform to share information about the conscious conversation experience, which is a collaboration and movement that chooses love and enlightenment. We choose love around here in these parts. We choose love. I realized this week that I can't go on social media without seeing a fight or argument. And it's usually less than 30 seconds. When I go on social media, inside 30 seconds, I will see a fight or argument. And that's why I do what I do, because I think that we are able to interact without having to fight and argue. And that's what I identify as the conscious conversation experience. Before I continue further, I would first like to remind you that the Taste of the Caribbean Arts and Culture Connecticut Inc. presents the Hartford, Connecticut's Taste of the Caribbean Jerk Festival, Saturday, August 1st, 2026. Again, that's the Taste of the Caribbean Arts and Culture Connecticut Inc. presents Hartford, Connecticut's Taste of the Caribbean Jerk Festival, Saturday, August 1st, 2026. Also, beginning this Friday, the 35th anniversary of the Greater Hartford Festival of Jazz, Hartford, Connecticut, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 17th, 18th, and 19th of July. It's taking place this week coming up. Also, and I was invited. I was invited to do a poem, and the poem will be a tribute to Black women. It's called "For You, There Are No Words." I think all women are special because women in general are responsible for sustaining life on this planet in many ways, not just giving birth, but maintaining birth and helping young people understand life and what it's about. So I think all women are special for that reason. However, because I personally experienced the challenges and hardships and witnessed the challenges and hardships associated with Black women, this particular poem I wrote as a tribute to Black women. And so I will be sharing this poem on Friday evening at 9:45. This Friday evening, 9:45, I'll be sharing this poem "For You There Are No Words," which is a tribute to Black women. If you're there, I look forward to you supporting a brother. And also, I have decided that I'm going to anyone who's dealing with young people and who's interested in having me speak with young people about how to be better with the communication and interaction, I'm willing to sit down and talk and meet with you and have conversations, have conscious conversations. And so, and one of the things that inspired me to do this is, well, two things inspired me to do this. Is number one, I haven't been able to connect with any organizations that have groups of young people. Um, Okie dokie. And number two, I saw this video where teachers were complaining about the students that they have to deal with on a daily basis. And I'll put the link in the comments if you want to check it out. And some of the things that they were speaking in reference to are just not something teachers should have to go through. So after watching this video as well, again, I put the link in the comments on my Facebook page, Alphonso Speaks. After seeing a lot of the things that teachers were speaking about and going through and experiencing on this particular video, I just said, hey, if anybody has young people that they would like to have me talk to and share the conscious conversation experience and what it means and what it's about, I'm open to do it. I'm not asking you for anything. I'm just interested in getting the information out the best way I know how. I'm also open for someone who has expertise in the area of connecting up with um, organizations and colleges and universities and businesses, corporations, etc. I'm open for assistance. So I just wanted to put that on the table. But for young people, for adults out here who have young people they would like me to speak to and share some information about the conscious conversation experience, I will do so. We can link up and we'll make it happen. And as I continue tonight, I want to say the conscious conversation experience is again a collaboration and movement that chooses love and enlightenment. We deal with resolution. Resolution is the successful solving of a problem. If there are some problems and challenges that need solving, that's what we like to do when it comes to the conscious conversation experience. I am here to help myself and people around the world transform conflict into conscious conversation that leads to understanding, resolution, and enlightenment. So, what is a conscious conversation? A conscious conversation is a verbal interaction where we speak with the desire to understand. We ask questions and we share information. We take responsibility for our thoughts, words, and actions and control our prejudices and emotions, which, if left unchecked, will disrupt the goal of having a conscious conversation. The strength of a conscious conversation is its ability to inspire rather than manipulate. Ultimately, the conscious conversation experience is a pathway to understanding, resolution, and enlightenment. And as spoken earlier, without the desire to understand, there can be no conscious conversation. Without the desire to understand, there can be no conscious conversation. And I read this warning every night. I've learned that developing myself can lead to unnecessary challenges with insecure people who are intimidated by those who have a sense of self. It's not our problem, but it is one of the consequences of our personal growth. I always say, as we continue going into next levels of understanding, each new door we open into a room of a next level of understanding, there are fewer and fewer people in the room, which means some people we just gotta leave by the wayside and keep moving because either we're gonna grow or not. But we can't bring people into a room who are not ready. They have to go on their own. So that's how it works. That's how it works, and that's life. Now, I have two things that I like to deal with. Well, tonight, the first thing I want to deal with is, like I said, thoughts that I'm willing to have a conscious conversation about. And tonight's conscious conversation is about the fact that it's not about who we are. We have to move. It's not about what we want, but who we are. It's not about what we want, but who we are. It's not about what we want, but who we are. We have to move in the frequency and energy that is parallel to the quality of our desires. So, if I have a desire to be this great, incredible speaker all over the world, then I have to move in the frequency that matches that desire. I can't be walking around not improving how I share information, not improving my speech, not working on my craft, not trying to be better, working to be better, developing my conversation, developing my subject matter. I can't not do all of those things, but expect to be one of the greatest speakers on the planet. Those two things can't go together. So we have to move in the same energy. We have to move in the same energy or parallel in the energy that is parallel to the quality of our desires. And that's so important. And a lot of us say to ourselves, well, why is this not happening for me, or why is that not happening for me? It's about three key things. Number one, um, the universe doesn't give a damn about you. There's the universe is set up in a certain way where when you function in a certain energy, then you are the one who makes certain things available to you because of that. The universe is not fair. There's nothing fair about living, nothing at all. And a lot of times, some of us get caught up in the idea of what's not fair. And we get sidetracked and distracted for extended periods of time simply because we feel that we're not being treated fairly. So the universe is not thinking about us. Energy is, but only matching energy. The universe is not fair, is never going to be fair based on what we think is fair. It's just never going to be fair. So we have to have and number three, we have to be conscious of the energy that we are carrying. Confirmation for me about the energy that I'm carrying, always connected to young people. I was in a restaurant one day last week, in a Jamaican restaurant, looking for some spinach or veggie patty and bread. And this cute little, chubby little thing, she was in her mother's arms and she was just so happy and she's just smiling, dimples. Her mother has her hair in a little afro, so her hair is not all pulled back. The edges are still allowed to develop. A lot of people ruin their children's edges from pulling them back so much when they're so young, and the follicle doesn't get a chance to fully develop. And then when they get older, you wonder why your child doesn't have a hairline. You toe it up. Um, I would say kids shouldn't be getting their hairlines snatched back all tight until they're about, to give them at least 7, 8. But before that, the styles shouldn't be pulling on their roots and edges so tight when they haven't had a chance to develop. The follicles haven't had a chance to develop. So she was she was sitting in her mother's arms and she was just so bubbly. All I could do was smile. And she was just smiling and fidgety, fidgety, fidgety. So, and she was no more than 3. So her mother put her down. And when I tell you, her mother put her down, and she took off running and slammed herself right into my legs and just started hugging me with both arms, looking up at me. And I said, my energy must be on point because I've never seen this child before in my life. And her mother was looking at me like, what's going on? And I was just looking at her like, I don't know. So I grabbed one of the child's hands and I said, hi, how are you? How are you feeling? You feeling good today? And she was just looking up at me smiling, but she kept that other arm wrapped tightly around my leg. And so I just kept talking to her for a couple of minutes. And then she finally let me go. And then she went running around doing whatever she wanted to do. But that was, for me, that was such great confirmation that the work I've been doing on myself is real, and it's working, because when little ones confirm your spirit in that matter, I mean, it's serious business. It's serious business. So I try to move in the spirit and energy, frequency. I try to move in the frequency that's parallel to the quality of my desires. And so we think about what we want, and that's cool. We have to have some type of goal and desires for what we want. But more important than what we desire is the energy and the frequency that we carry. And that frequency must be the same or similar frequency to the quality of our desires. And that's the point that I wanted to make tonight. We have to carry a certain energy. And if we're negative and we're angry, and like society is distracting us now with all of this race baiting that's going on, and we waking up every day looking for a reason to struggle, looking for a reason to be mad, looking for a reason to be ready to fight. There are a lot of us who wake up every day looking for a reason to be upset because of this setup and what's being presented to us constantly. We're being bombarded with conflict and confrontation. The rhythm of this nation is conflict and confrontation. So that's why I've decided to do what I'm doing. And I know I'm just out here in these streets, all up in the fire, and I might sound crazy to many, but I can't complain about us without trying to do something to make a difference. So that's what I decided to do. This is where my commitment is. This is what it's all about for me. I feel like I have a lot to offer, and I'm going to share it, even in the middle of all of these distractions. You know, talking about wars, talking about the economy, talking about Charlie Kirk, talking about uh, black folks getting called the N word, and just fighting, and the girls, these young ladies out here in these streets, just fighting and ripping each other's hair out, and all of this wild stuff going on in these streets. So I really, I just said, man, I'm not going to just criticize us. I'm going to come up with a way to make a difference, to help us if anybody's interested in receiving what I have to offer. So I'm open. I mean, it doesn't matter. Adults with kids, adults, period. If you want to sit down, you got some anger issues. I have a little workshop that I'll call the Plan for Anger. And I help people with anger issues. But I'm very, very honest and forward with it. And if you want me to help you with that, you have to be ready to deal with some truth and honesty. Uh, and I don't claim, let me make this clear out the gate. I don't claim to be a therapist. I don't have any degrees in psychology or any of that stuff. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm claiming to be Alphonso, who has life experiences that have taught me things, and I am willing to share what I've learned in my lifetime to the best of my ability. I'm willing to share my limited understanding of life to the best of my ability. That's what I'm willing to do. But in no way am I claiming to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist. I'm not claiming to have any degrees in any of these fields. I'm claiming to be an expert with me. That's it. So I'm open for anybody who has anger issues and want to deal with that. You can inbox me at Alphonso Speaks on Facebook. And as I was saying, it's not about what we want, but who we are. We have to move in the frequency and energy that is parallel to the quality of our desires. And if what I say makes sense to you, then we could talk, or you can bring together some young people and we can all have a conscious conversation. That's the thought that I'm willing to have a conscious conversation about. Also, tonight, the question I ask every night: in what ways do I make decisions that hurt me? In what ways do I make decisions that hurt me? And one of the things I came up with is, if you haven't figured out, it's hot in her, like Atlanta, Georgia, and my whole face is wet from sweat. But in what ways do I make decisions that hurt me? Do I allow criticisms from others to negatively impact my spirit and the quality of my life? If we're allowing the criticisms of others to negatively impact our spirit and the quality of our lives, if I am doing that, then I am guaranteeing I'm going to be miserable for life. I'm going to be miserable for life because people are going to always have criticisms. And people in particular who have their own insecurities, who have criticisms of you, if they watching you have a negative response to their criticisms, then they feel like now I own them, and anytime I want, I can mess their whole day up. That's the power we give people when we allow criticisms from others to negatively impact our spirit and the quality of our life. And we all have to ask ourselves that question: do I allow criticisms from others to negatively impact my spirit and the quality of my life? And for those of you who are in relationships, do you let, for instance, if I was in a relationship and I came to the person I'm with something somebody else said about what's going on in our space, or if somebody I was with came to me about what somebody else said about what was going on in our space, and then we allow that to have an effect, a negative effect on our interaction, that's a guarantee for a miserable life as well, because anybody can just come in and wreck your household anytime they feel like it. All they got to do is insert themselves into the person who inserts that person into the household, who creates a distraction in the household. We have to, well, I've worked on not allowing people. As a matter of fact, if I'm not in a relationship, but if I was in a relationship, a particular relationship with a woman, and she came in and said to me, well, Sally said that you, whatever followed the rest of that statement, she could say whatever she want, but I'm gonna sit down and watch TV and eat a salad and do whatever it is I like other than engaging in that foolishness. Now, if I was with somebody and they came to me and said, hey, Alfonso, I'm curious about this. I would like to know this. And they came to me with what they were interested in knowing or what they wanted to talk about, I can respect that. But I personally have zero respect for Sally said, Johnny said, Bill said. None. because I'm not gonna, for the time I have left on this planet, I'm not gonna entertain anything that guarantees misery. And so negative influences by people outside of the relationship is a guarantee for misery. Because then that person or those people know anytime they feel like they can, anytime they want to, they can disrupt your whole world. Can't give that much people that much power in my life. Can't do that. I have too much self-respect for that. And so I'm putting that on the table. So just as a reminder, the Taste of the Caribbean Arts and Culture Connecticut Inc. presents the Hartford, Connecticut's Taste of the Caribbean Jerk Festival, Saturday, August 1st, 2026. The 35th anniversary of the Greater Hartford Festival of Jazz, Hartford, Connecticut, starts this Friday, and it is on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 17th, 18th, and 19th of July. I was invited to do a poem. It will be a tribute to Black women. It's called For You There Are No Words. I think all women are special because women contribute to maintaining human life on the planet, and that's special for every woman, not just those who give birth, but those who maintain birth and those who help raise young people, young men and young boys and girls to be men and women. So I think all women are special. However, the ones that inspired this poem are Black women who I grew up watching and listening to and experiencing. So this is why I wrote this tribute to Black women. And on Friday night at 9:45, I will be sharing this poem. This Friday night at the 35th anniversary of the Greater Hartford Festival of Jazz. This Friday at 9:45, I will be presenting that poem, which is a tribute to Black women. It's called For You There Are No Words. And I'm also saying that I am willing to speak with young people, and not just young people, anybody who wants to have a conscious conversation about anything. It can be a group of us, it can be two of us, it doesn't matter to me. Or if you have something that you're angry about and you want to work on getting past that anger, I also have a little workshop that I do for that as well. And if you're interested, just inbox me on Facebook, Alphonso Speaks, and we can go from there. You could be doing anything right now in this very moment, and you chose to give me some time in your life, whether it be watching live or watching later on. I do not take it for granted. I love you all, and I always will. And I will never give up on our people, ever. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I'll see you tomorrow night, 9 o'clock p.m.